ESPN Radio. This is the Thundering Herd Podcast.
I don't think sometimes we appreciate certain things in sports. I don't think people understand how hard it is to be a pro athlete. I'm not going to talk about hockey because I don't watch minor league hockey. But I watch college basketball and college football. The difference between the college games and the pro games, it's remarkable how hard it is to not only make the NFL and NBA, but to be great. That is why they become superstars in society. I mean, you get a LeBron every 25 years. You get a Steph Curry every 10. Magic Johnson, there'll never be another. Michael, Kobe, that's it. It is so hard to be great. Here's a great example. So Zach LaVine averages 30 a game in high school, goes to UCLA, wins the dunk contest this weekend. He is athletically. You watch some of those dunks this weekend. Give me one of them. He is off the chain talented.
Zach LaVine on the near side will throw it ahead, get the lob on the counter, behind the back and throw down. A whiplash right hand jam. Zach LaVine has done it again on his first attempt. Wow! Woo. This kid was born for this competition.
Wow! Last 6 games, 1.41000 did not play. He's a scrub on the second worst team in the league. He's eye candy. Okay, look at the Timberwolves. Andrew Wiggins and Zach LaVine. These are transcendent athletes, off the charts. Ricky Rubio, Anthony Bennett, a former number 1, Shabazz Muhammad, dominant college player, Thaddeus Young, good pro, Nikola Pekovic. They're the second worst team in the league. Second worst team in the league. Think about guys who tore it up in college. Tebow, Jimmer, Colt McCoy, Harold Miner, Zach, Bradford, Geno Smith, J.J. Redick, Tyler Hansbrough. I mean, don't get me wrong. Sam Bradford can play a little. J.J. Redick can play. All those Alabama football stars, like 2 have come into this league. 2! And can really at the next level play. Think about this. 66,300 athletes play college football. Over 66,000. 300 make a roster. About 4 a year become stars. By 25, most NFL players have no more economic use. That's according to the National Football League, not my opinion. When Michael Sam didn't get a lot of opportunities, people just went crazy. This is the reality of college football guys who are good for about a year in college. Chris Leak and Tim Tebow ate the SEC alive. Look how many great Alabama players can't do anything. Nothing against Michael Sam, but dude can't play in this net. At best, he was a 4- and 5-round guy, which means he's going to last about 2 years. Zach LaVine is whipping cream. LeBron's a ribeye every night. And those dunks last night, woo! Wow! Woo!
Here's the
bounce.
Between the legs.
Between the legs.
And stuffs it in the right hand. That was filthy.
Woo! 0.0 did not play. 1-4. Kids, get an education. Get an education. That is why people worship professional athletes. 66,000 kids play collegiately. 300 make the league. The average career is under 4 years. Right now in the National Football League, the entire planet, we have 3 great quarterbacks. Aaron Rodgers, Luck, and Brady. Every week, great. That's it. That's it. You got to love people who love what they do. Okay? There is something to be said. When I watch Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll coach, they love football. They love teaching it. They love coaching it. Those guys may be enemies, but Jim Harbaugh and Pete Carroll, you watch them on a sideline. Be very careful, 49ers. You're not going to find a guy who loves coaching young guys more than Jim Harbaugh. He loves it. It defines him. Pete Carroll loves it. This weekend I saw something that it's just great when people love their job. I'm watching the Weather Channel, and Jim Cantore has been at the Weather Channel forever. They just hired Sam Champion. He's a big headliner. Jim Cantore is kind of the heart and soul of that place. He's kind of this guy that lives, breathes, eats, sleeps weather. He loves bad weather. And during a live shot, they had what they call, it's kind of a weather phenomenon called like a thunder snow, when there's lightning in the middle of a snowstorm. Listen to that! He just went nuts. It was like 5 minutes. He went nuts, and it happened 7 times.
Yes, we got it, baby! We got it! We got it! Woo! Woo!
Like a pro wrestler. It's incredible.
You gotta be kidding me!
It was so great. I was watching it live. I'm like, he's going nuts.
That's a twofer, baby! Yes!
Rooting for mayhem. The performance of the weekend. And I think you'll be surprised, but the performance of what was a lot of stuff, people always, clobber the NBA. The All-Star Game's never done a ton for me. 163, 158 pretty much explains why I don't watch it and watch Saturday Night Live's 40th anniversary. But, it's Russell Westbrook is just off. He's ridiculous. He's a ridiculous athlete. We've said this several times last couple of years. There's nothing in the league like Russell Westbrook. I've never seen a point guard like that. I've never seen a point guard with a 40-inch vertical on his jumper. There's just nothing. I've never seen anything like Russell Westbrook athletically at that position. Magic was great. So was Stockton and Isaiah. I've never seen anything like Russell Westbrook. We said this about 6 months ago. He's the best athlete in the league. I mean, he is the best athlete in the league. He's Percy Harvin into the NFL. Like, nobody else even looked like that. You get these guys, that Kane guy for the Blackhawks, you're like, oh, okay, he's better than other players. Sometimes you see guys and you're like, even among the great athletes, nobody plays like that.
Putting style in black T-shirts. It's Colin Cowherd, the Thundering Herd podcast.
NBA All-Star Weekend, Saturday Night Live, 40th anniversary, which I probably watched 90% of that. I'd turn in over the breaks and watch a little of the All-Star game. I will say this, Kevin Durant took aim at the media, and Kevin Durant is one of the more kind of likable guys in the NBA, and I've never had a problem with guys taking a shot at the media. I'm part of the media. It's never bothered me. Don't want to talk to me? I defended Marshawn Lynch. You're not that interesting anyway. The guys that do want to talk, Richard Sherman, I think are more intelligent and more captivating and more interesting and more compelling, so I'll talk to him. If you don't want to talk, that's your problem. You're not going to use me to make more money after football? That's your problem, not mine. But Kevin Durant said about reporters this weekend, he said, you guys don't really know blank. To be honest, I'm here talking to you because I have to talk to you guys. And it's interesting because to be kind of cocky is interesting because he's got a gaping hole in his resume, and he's mostly been because everybody needs a villain, and LeBron James became a villain in the NBA. Durant was the white hat, LeBron was the black hat, and the media has handled Kevin Durant with kid gloves. 8 years in the league, 1 title run, got dominated in that finals. The media likes him and has always taken care of him, and the media does that. The media likes Chris Paul. They like Doc Rivers. I like Doc Rivers, too. But, I mean, he's been coached in this league 14 years. The Clippers are going backwards. The Celtics had one great year, and that Boston team had Rondo and Pierce in their prime, and Ray and KG could play, and Tony Allen. That team was loaded. They were loaded. The media love Derrick Rose and RG3. I think they've come to their senses with RG3, and Derrick Rose I've never bought into as a leader. I don't think he's the cake. I think he's the icing. I don't think you're going to win a title with him. And I don't think you're going to win title with volume. Like, I like Westbrook and Rose, but I don't think you're going to win titles with 6'2" volume scoring shooting guards. But the political media is the same. They love Bill Clinton because Bill Clinton's engaging. And he leans left, and the media tends to lean left. He's engaging. Kevin Durant has a gaping hole in his resume, and to be honest with you, at times plays soft, doesn't really demand the ball, which we destroy LeBron for, and he just went out and he went after the media, and it'll be interesting to watch the media respond to him, because he has been handled, almost grooved, quietly, lovingly by the media, and he turned on the media. I mean, he really went after the media. And it's interesting. He's still, I think, a little ticked off about that one ugly headline in the Oklahoma paper, Mr. Unreliable. The paper came back and apologized, which is embarrassing. But the point is, this kid has been one of the guys in the club. He's been the Chris Paul, the Doc Rivers, the Peyton Manning. He's been in the club. There's a club where you just get a lot of love. Peyton gets way more love than Brady. Brady's a better quarterback. But the media loves Peyton, and he's accessible, and he's likable, and he feels down home, and they feel closer to him. Whereas LeBron's the king, and Brady's got the supermodel. There's a distance. They don't need the media as much. Don't use the media. Don't give the media access. So it'll be interesting, kind of interesting to see how this plays out. It will be interesting. I thought I got to tell you, I thought the performance of the weekend was not at the NBA All-Star Game. We were talking about how hard it is to make the NBA or the NFL or baseball at the professional level. 66,000 kids play college football, 300 make the pros, and about 10 of those, 4 of those a year become stars. It's just almost, the Gronks, they're so, forget quarterback, Gronk, J.J. Watt, Darrelle Revis, they're so rare, and it's hard to predict where they come from. A lot of times it's talent plus huge heart. But one of the things we do in sports, and we do it in politics too, this country allows you to reinvent yourself. They really do, because we are so distracted, so caffeinated, that this country is busy. We have so many things going on, the networks, the radio, the TV, the print, the periodicals, the digital, the YouTube, the Wi-Fi. We are distracted. And so you can be Mickey Rourke and be a star, a mess, and be embraced again. We have seen it so many times. It'll happen to Brian Williams. It'll happen to Dan Rather. It did. It happens over and over again. The media can really bury people, but the public has a real appetite now for Pete Rose to get back into the Hall of Fame. The public really does like redemption. And I got to tell you, you can take shots at Miley Cyrus, and she went through the twerking stage, and Billy Ray Cyrus. Dude, it was a wow moment. I thought Miley Cyrus was, what? I mean, it's like you gotta rethink that thing. Wow. That was just drop the mic stuff. And I know it's like, guys struggle with kind of deciphering what's a man. You can't listen to that, you're a man. Dude, I'm a dude, but that was like, whoa. That was a whoa moment. Stanzik, you were at the All-Star game. You didn't get to hear this? I just sat there. I'm watching because I'm writing the news, and I'm just like, okay, all jokes aside, drop it.
I'm just amazed that's your takeaway from the weekend.
That was the most.
Cantore's performance was incredible.
It was, but I'm telling you, Zach LaVine, Cantore, and that are like, wow. Zach LaVine, you're like, oh,
you gotta be kidding me!
Cantore, you're like, guy's nuts.
That's a twofer, baby!
Yeah, and then
yes!
Miley Cyrus does that, and I'm like, okay, that's talent, right there. That would be Simon Cowell. If she was auditioning for American Idol, he'd be like, yeah, stop singing, go to L.A. That was impressive. It really was. Joe, you're in the herd. Go ahead, bud.
Hey, how you doing, Colin? Love the show.
Thanks.
I just had a question for you. Do you think that Russell Westbrook is everything that Derrick Rose was projected to be, and do you think he'll ever get there?
I think Westbrook and Derrick Rose are unbelievable players. You don't win in this league with a 6'2" guy shooting as much as they do. Derrick Rose, I never bought into. He's 188 pounds dripping wet. He's too fragile. He doesn't do a lot of things particularly well outside of score. He is a tremendous athlete. Russell Westbrook, to me, is sturdier, weighs another 15 pounds. I think Westbrook's better than Derrick Rose. I always have.
Do you buy into that? He's kind of, some people are saying he's kind of putting it off until the playoffs. I don't personally buy into that. I think
they're both. They're mega talents. The difference is, I think Westbrook has more leadership skills. I think he and Durant are somewhat flawed because D Rose or Westbrook takes shots away from Durant. But you can't deny D Rose and Westbrook are amazing. I just think Westbrook's the greatest physical talent I've ever seen at point guard. I've never seen him. I've been watching the NBA for 40 years. And I've been, I like the NBA. I've never seen anything like Westbrook. He'll jump 38 inches on a jumper. It's not going to last forever, so appreciate it. He is remarkable. Remarkable. As far as Derrick Rose, I always said he's a more coachable version of Iverson. He's not going to win you titles. That team is built on defense and rebounding and toughness. That's not his game. He's the icing on that cake. Does the media turn on Kevin Durant? Rick Bucher's going to stop by. It was very interesting. They have really aided him. He's been in this league 8 years. One title run, got exposed in the finals. We crucified LeBron while he was winning titles. Durant, and he turned on the people who loved him.
Want more of the herd? The Thundering Herd Podcast.
This comes from Josh Pettitte, the son of the great Andy Pettitte. Great Yankee, core four. I don't know how many rings, 3, 4, oh no, 5. The Yankees will celebrate the career of baseball's winningest postseason pitcher, the great Andy Pettitte, by retiring his uniform number. Andy Pettitte's number will be retired, 46. August 23rd against the Indians at Yankee Stadium. An amazing 18-year career. 256, 153 during the Royd era.
All right, yeah. Oh, the Royd era. That's weird, Colin. Oh, the Royd era. Andy Pettitte. Wow. What do those have to do in common?
You don't like Andy Pettitte?
No, Andy Pettitte's fine, but I hate how all these Yankee fans say, well, Andy Pettitte admitted to his HGH use. Yeah, he admitted it after everyone found out that he took it. He just didn't compound the lie. He cheated the game. He had no integrity, and then he was caught on it, and then was like, okay, yeah, I did it.
Snitches get stitches. This is not a rat. This is a tale of honor.
Oh, you might be jumping ahead. Are you talking about when he misremembered things when he was the key witness in the Roger Clemens fiasco?
This is a coming-of-age story.
Oh, he misremembered. Okay, so he goes to Houston, juices with Clemens, and then comes back and misremembers, and all of a sudden he's this white knight for the Yankees.
He defines the American dream.
Yeah, I hope they make his bronze statue out of pewter, because he's a fraud.
Pride of Deer Park, Texas.
Oh, yeah, the pride of lying, the pride of the steroid era.
Pride, Core 4.
Yeah, the core 4 of cheaters, him, Bonds, Clemens.
I mean, it's just incredible.
And McGuire.
I can't wait to visit this shrine. Chuck Knobloch's another hater. He was on Twitter last night. He said, congrats to 46. Yankees retiring his number. Hopefully they don't retire it like his HGH testimony.
Ooh, Knobloch with a burn. I like that.
Well, the tale of honor. It's a coming-of-age story. Defines America.
Oh, lying, cool, yeah. Cheating the game, having no integrity.
You know,
he just has this nice voice. He's this Southern gentleman. He seems so authentic.
He owned his...
But, he owned his... But, yeah, okay, he lied and then misremembered. That's another lie.
Yeah, well, there's some things that are a little fuzzy for him. I mean,
the Yankees are picking the lesser of two evils. It's either celebrate Pettitte or celebrate A-Rod, so whatever. Well, have a fun season in the basement.
By the way, you know why they're celebrating a lot of these former stars?
Nothing to celebrate on the field?
Yeah, their win total in Vegas is 81, and that's why they're celebrating. The Yankees, I just got the win totals for Major League Baseball from the Las Vegas Superbook. R.J. Bell sent these to us this morning. The Yankees are at 81 wins. So are the Mets, by the way. They're both at 81.5 wins. I think the Mets actually have some really interesting pitchers. I don't think Dude is going to crack 30 home runs, and you got to rely on Matt Harvey to come back, but the win total. They have the Cubs at 82.5, more than the Mets or the Yankees, which is that's pretty lofty. They've got the Padres, and I know they went out and changed their outfield. Will Myers and Justin Upton and Sean Kemp shot, but they got San Diego at like 86 wins. Come on now, really? That's a lot of wins in baseball. That's a lot. 86 is a lot of wins in baseball. 90 is, everybody just throws out 90. Vegas only has two teams, Washington and the Dodgers at 90, and the Angels at 89.5. That's too high for the Angels to me. But Seattle at 87.5. Woo, my Mariners. All right, here we go. Alex, you're in the herd on ESPN Radio. Go ahead.
Colin, how are you today?
I'm great.
I'm glad. And I have to agree with you about the performance of the weekend. I was doing what you were doing, switching back and forth. And when I missed the beginning of Miley's performance, when I first turned on, I said, who is that young Hillary Rodham Clinton? But when I finally listened, it had to be, it was Joplin-esque. It was that powerful.
Well, my sister grew up more with Janis Joplin. I thought Miley Cyrus hit it out of the park. It is funny about that whole Core 4 thing. It really, here's what's interesting about baseball is that for a long time, baseball got a bad rap. Like there's no parity. But, I mean, seriously, Philadelphia and Minnesota are kind of a mess, Colorado too. But by and large, everybody in baseball, there is a sense with baseball. Kansas City had no power and a moderate ace and got to the World Series, Game 7. And they had no power. They had no power, and they really had no ace. They had a great bullpen, and they were very athletic. You know what's happening to the NFL? As the NFL has changed its rules to make it so offensive, the sport now is all quarterbacks. I can take 8 teams in the NFL, and they are dust. They have no shot next year because they don't have a quarterback. Tennessee, Tampa, Jets, Browns, Houston, Buffalo, Rams, Redskins, out. And the Rams and the Texans have real players. They're not going anywhere. They're not going to win any games with those quarterbacks. You start looking at these NFL teams, they're dead on arrival. You're punting on another season. And in baseball, baseball's done a pretty good job now because everybody's got these cable networks and an infusion of, cash. There's 2 or 3 teams. Philadelphia has been a mess for a couple of years. Minnesota, Colorado aren't very good. I don't think Arizona's very good. Houston's growing because they've gotten some good picks. But by and large, a lot of teams at 78, 79, 80, 84, 85. 22 of the teams are right in the middle. Right in the middle.
You're in the Herd. The Thundering Herd Podcast.
Geico presents Strange Saving Stories. Astronomers detected an interstellar transmission. It stated, Geico, 15 minutes could save you 15% or more. The implications were staggering. Was the cosmos telling us we could all save hundreds on car insurance with Geico? Or did their radar merely pick up a signal from the nearby Rufus and Clyde's morning show? We may never know.
Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% or more on car insurance.
ESPN Radio. This is the Thundering Herd Podcast.
I watched very happy for Curry to win the three-point shooting contest. It's his year. It's his time. Zach LaVine's amazing. Oladipo's a good young player, too. I watched that stuff on Saturday night. Didn't watch the All-Star game much, just commercials. I've never been into it. 162, 158 pretty much explains. I'm not going to watch it. Carmelo Anthony, though, that was nice to give 30 minutes. Good to see Carmelo giving the All-Star game 30 minutes. So, Ryen Russillo, who loves the NBA, just informed me he didn't watch the All-Star game much either. But you are deeply concerned for me, I'm informed?
Yeah, man, I just heard that last segment. And, I know it's cold here. And, I spent the morning. Whenever everybody says, every day's a blessing. But no one ever says that when you're scraping ice off your windshield and negative.
Thank you.
Every day above ground, man. Nope, I was just scraping stuff. It took 30 minutes. But you got a Miley Cyrus thing in there, and then kind of did a Padres breakdown. Where are you right now?
February is a slow month. You do what you can.
I understand.
As a solo host, you are just looking for little cranberries in the salad, baby.
I hear you. It's a tough one. 3 hours a day, be interesting? It's tough.
Okay, so you didn't watch the...
I'm with you.
You didn't watch the Saturday Night Live show?
No, I didn't.
Okay.
I'll catch it whenever I can.
Okay. Well, I kind of, my sister watched it.
Sure. So
I always thought, can I say this? Belushi's great. I think he's a little overrated. I thought Phil Hartman's underrated. I think Chris Farley, although he's doing some of Belushi's stuff, made me laugh harder than Belushi did. I think Aykroyd's a little overrated, and I think Eddie Murphy's now so arrogant he's incapable of being funny. So you didn't have any you didn't move in. That's why the Cyrus thing got me, because I sat there for 3 hours, and I couldn't believe what she did. Mic, people, and a tambourine behind her. You're not impressed by that?
No, I think I'm just surprised that you're this impressed. So I'm not saying that, what she did was wrong, but, you're a Miley guy now.
I'm not play just a little more. I'm not a Miley guy, but can't you did you ever watch American Idol?
I like to watch the beginning.
That's what I did.
It was terrible.
Right. But it was kind of fun to be a judge. It was like being a baseball scout.
Right, yeah.
And you'd be like, yeah, no, yeah, mostly no. You always felt kind of like, I can see talent. Last night, I felt like a talent scout. I'm like, that is amazing, and you're not buying any of it.
No, I'm not disagreeing with you. I just think that you're very. I don't think you just hand out compliments.
I don't.
I think it's.
So I've caught you by surprise.
Yeah, you really surprised, because I know last week you came in, Van Pelt and I were doing a pre-show meeting, and you just walk in, and we loved it. We told the story on the air. You just walk in and go, "What are you guys talking about today? I am toast."
I like Brian Williams for 2.5 hours.
Right. How great is that story?
It is America. However, Ryen Russillo joining me. America allows you to reinvent because we're so distracted.
Sure.
Our media is, I think it's the second biggest industry now in the country, that the bottom line is we forget about it. You can be a wreck, and 8 years later, we're like Lance Armstrong. He's going to sit low for about 6 years. He'll reinvent himself, and will emotionally be back in on it. That's just the way the game works.
You're right. It is pretty amazing, though, how the timelines are different for people. How long it can take someone to repair, and for others, how quick it can be. And for Williams, I get the point that, he's the guy giving you the news. But here's the thing. Would you ever watch an anchor and go, I don't know about this guy?
I think he's making stuff up.
Right. What you would never, the Dow was down today. Was it?
Come on, Brian.
You know, so I don't.
You fall in my line. I said this. Trust is overrated on television.
I told people last week that in the future I'm going to expect less of people and accept more. Because the more we learn about people, the more we start to go, oh, well, you know, you can't have this. Look, I understand if you're talking from a news standpoint and reading some of the backstory there of Brian Williams, and apparently, like, he was known.
Kind of a fudger, yeah.
Yeah, he was just known as a guy. People kind of rolled their eyes a little bit. But what if you like him? What if you like him as a consumer?
Television anchors are known for two or three things. One of them is kind of good-looking for your age.
Yeah, but not too hot. You can't be threatening hot.
David Muir,
I was worried about that.
He wears skinny jeans. So
he does.
Brian Williams is part of television. I'm not talking New York Times. Part of television is Scott Pelley's better looking than average for his age. So was Tom Brokaw. So was Peter Jennings. So was Brian Williams. And I kind of like him. Trust. I don't think he goes on the set and makes stuff up. I really do. What were you saying? Yeah, the journalists go crazy on this. Part of the appeal to television personalities is I like them. I don't care what my writer, and I know it's all journalism, but what if you like Brian Williams, what if he comes back in the ratings surge?
Yeah, see, I think it's different. I'm with you on that. When I was thinking about Brian Williams, and it was, season 5? That was the last season of The Wire. Did you ever watch The Wire?
A little bit.
All right, and there was a guy, Scott, who worked for one of the local Baltimore newspapers, and he just got tired of not being noticed, tried to go to the Post, so he just started making up stuff.
Yeah.
Just flat out making up stuff. It becomes a big part of the storyline. That's not who I don't look at Brian Williams that way because I wouldn't care. Like, I don't know. I honestly didn't care. Now, you know, some of the people that talked about, hey, you're going over there, we're losing people over there and sending them overseas, and this guy's making up stuff. All right, that's obviously an issue there.
He's gaining valor on the backs of the military.
Right.
That bothers me. All right, Kevin Durant turned on the media. That has mostly grooved him for 7 to 8 years. Surprised?
Yeah, I don't think he's really paying attention. He is completely protected.
Yes.
It's unbelievable.
He's the Doc Rivers of players.
Right, and here's the thing about Durant is that he had a blueprint for how to not do it a couple years ahead of him, watching what LeBron had to go through. So when Durant signed his extension with Oklahoma City, he signed it because there was uncertainty about what the new CBA was going to be. So he's like, it was a no-brainer, but he became the anti-LeBron. LeBron wants to leave Cleveland. Well, Durant decided to stay. You know, now we're hearing that he wants to leave. It's always the coach, and it's always his teammate. Whenever something wrong, like, I'm not telling you, hey, we all need to start complaining about Durant more, but for that guy to start saying everybody, look, and I think the coach should be gone anyway.
Outside of one headline in the local paper, has anybody received more favorable treatment from the American media?
I think he seriously has the highest approval rating of any star in sports today. 8
years, one run, exposed in the finals.
Well, I don't know. I mean, you know, they were a pretty young team.
I don't know. Listen, if you don't want to talk to me, Marshawn Lynch, have at it. I just thought to myself, kind of Doc Rivers gets a lot of love from the media.
Yeah, he does. I mean, because Doc also knows how to play the game, and Durant didn't even have to play the game. Durant just did things that weren't like LeBron.
Yeah, he was the white hat to LeBron's black hat.
Are you going to be all right today?
Yeah, I'm going to get through the rest of the show. Could use a little more of that 50 ways to leave your lover. I'll tell you, that thing has a certain gravitas. You cannot, Ryen Russillo. I don't care. You guys can make fun of me all you want. Go ahead, make fun of me all you want. I think it's amazing.
Listen to that!
I know, I'm going crazy on it. I just thought it was great. All right. What, you know, do you know presidents only make $89 an hour? Presidents work 91 hours a week. Their salary is $400,000 a year. They make $89 an hour. Forget the fact that underwater welders make over 100, and that tattoo artists make 130, and that a chiropractor can make well into the hundreds. Here's what's amazing, that a presidential speechwriter makes 100 an hour and the president makes 89. So the presidential speechwriter makes more per hour than the man giving the speech. And is there any job in America with that stress level? They all go in to the White House looking almost gracious and like vibrant, and they come out looking like a dinosaur. I mean, they're just all weathered and beaten. Presidents make $89 an hour, and in the history of the presidency, we've only given the president, it's President's Day today, 5 raises. In fact, in what year was it? In 2001, it was a $200,000 a year job. A DJ in Iowa could make more than the most powerful man on the planet. It's amazing to me. Like, the presidents need a raise. And if you go golf, oh, heaven, if you go on vacation for like 6 days in Hawaii, which, by the way, you're next to a phone the whole time. If you go golf, doesn't matter if you're liberal, conservative, if you golf as a president, you're going to get backhanded. The Kardashians make more using a lip balm on camera than Obama does annually.
You gotta be kidding me!
I know. Cantore, I'm with you on that one.
Colin Cowherd. The Thundering Herd Podcast.
Still taking a lot of heat saying I like Miley Cyrus. I just like throaty singers. I'm not going to lie to you. Like, if you've got a little rasp with you, like Adele is a little raspy. Like, if a woman, Pink, Miley Cyrus last night went kind of raspy. Vince told me during the break that Britney Spears started singing, and when she got popular, she started smoking because it tested better. Her voice got deeper and raspier, and it tested better with, I guess, like audiences with pre-sales tests. I think Miley Cyrus was great last night. Do you have Pink? Pink's a little raspy, isn't she? She's kind of raspy. And I've always said this. Like, I tend to like women who have baggage. I always have. Like, Patricia Arquette for years and years did it for me. This whole thing about 18 years old and never lost a boyfriend, I want all sorts of baggage. Pink's angry. I like angry women. No, I mean, she's Lindsay Lohan until the last caper she was in, totally aboard the rehab Lindsay Lohan train. Loved it. Yeah, and she got a raspy voice. I'm into that. I like somebody who's had lots of bad life experiences. That just totally works for me. I like mileage. Like you look at these 23-year-old women, and it's like, if you had your heart broken 7-8 times, no, not interested. I want somebody that's got all sorts of mileage, has had to hitchhike across 7 or 8 southern states. I'm looking for somebody who at one point was addicted to something awful. I need that.
Why don't you stop talking for a while?
I like my women like I like my cars, about 40,000 miles on them, you know? Matt, you're in the herd on ESPN Radio. Matt, go ahead.
Hey, Colin. I love listening to you, but I think you came in like a wrecking ball today on this Miley Cyrus stuff. So it kind of gave me an idea for your new book cover. I think you got to do homage to Miley Cyrus on the cover, on a wrecking ball in the tighty whitey underwear. What do you think?
I'm not taking my clothes off again. I did it one time. It wasn't my idea, Stanzik. It wasn't my idea to take my shirt off. It was my publisher.
Yeah, but you still said yes.
Well,
you could have said no. The power of no. You say it all the time.
I was in a meat locker with like 16 women photographers. They're like, and I said, okay. And then they used that cover. I'm shooting my next cover Thursday or Friday. I already know what it is. I'm not telling you. It's fantastic. And my shirt's on. I'm not the only guy out there that likes women with mileage. I'll just say that. That's why I've always said 40 years old, divorced, all in. My thing. ESPN Radio presented by Progressive Insurance. And play Miley Cyrus. Listen to her rasp. It's Camel filters. I appreciate that. Damn, brother. Oh, yeah, brother. 50 ways. That's right. 50 shades, 50 ways. Barry, you're in the herd. Go ahead, buddy.
Yes, if you want raspy, there's no one better than Stevie Nicks.
That's right.
Of Fleetwood Mac.
Yes.
Put on a landslide of one of her songs. She has the best raspy voice there is.
And Barry, by the way, why do you and I like that raspy voice? What is it about that raspy voice?
It makes me crazy. I just love it. I just love it. And she's the best. I just saw her in Newark Sunday night. They were terrific.
He saw Stevie Nicks in Newark on Sunday night. Yeah, and she's got mileage too. I don't know what it is. I don't know. I got to tell you something. Maybe it's my weakness. But if you've been treated poorly, there's just something. I'll tell you. You know who I really find attractive? Diane Lane. And she got Josh Brolin dumped her or something and they got divorced, and I was like, she's more attractive to me. Had her heart broken, vulnerable. Evan, you're in the herd. Go ahead.
Hey, Colin, love your show, brother. Hey, man, my wife doesn't talk to her dad. Her ex-husband's a punk. Mom and her don't talk, but let me tell you, bro, when we turn the lights off, she is a good time. Great mom, too, man.
Yeah,
Take it easy.
that's right, Evan. She's got a lot of anger. Doesn't get along with her mother, her sister. She throws produce at her. Yeah, come to Papa. If you ever had to hitchhike across the country, come to Papa. God, I've lost my mind. Did you guys read that Harbaugh? Did you read that Harbaugh? Tim Kawakami is a tremendous reporter and writer out in San Jose, Mercury News. Did you read his Jim Harbaugh column this weekend? Harbaugh's the best. He's nuts. He's nuts, but he's the best. So basically he was driving to Pebble Beach with his family. He's taking a little break from, recruiting's over in college football, so I think coaches have 2 or 3 weeks off. And he's driving across the country, and Kawakami gets him on the phone, and he tells him the whole story about the Niners. He's like, hey, I wanted to come back. Jed York didn't like me. You got to go read the story. Mo, you're in the herd. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, talking about women with raspy voices. I don't know if you ever pay attention to Demi Moore, but she is ridiculous with her voice. I love that girl. She's incredible with her voice.
I saw Demi Moore in Las Vegas. I told this story before. I was at the Hard Rock opening in Las Vegas. It must have been 15, 20 years ago. And Pamela Anderson was coming down. All these women. Demi Moore walked in front of us, and by Hollywood standards, was so stunning. Like I was with like 7 guys, and I mean it was like Pamela Anderson, boom, 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 star, star, star. Demi Moore walked by. We were like, whoa, that doesn't even look like anybody else on the planet.
Technology gone bad. Gone bad. This is the Thundering Herd podcast.
I thought there were some remarkable performances this weekend. Zach LaVine, the slam dunk contest winner. I've told you Miley Cyrus, Jim Cantore going crazy for the Lightning during the snow blizzard. And then Kevin Durant with a strange admission this weekend. Kevin Durant largely beloved by the American sports media, blasted the media, so they don't know blank. And I only talk to you guys because I have to. And I found it interesting considering he does have a bit of a gaping hole in his resume, and he has been groomed for years by the American media. They like him. And let's not kid ourselves here. The media has people they like. Doc Rivers, I think, is a good coach. He has been elevated to Popovich, Phil Jackson-esque. He's got a title in 14 years. I like him, but the Clippers don't play any defense. That Boston team was loaded and had 1 title and often struggled in the regular season. And I like Doc Rivers, but he has been anointed a friend of the media. FOM, friend of media. Chris Paul, who I also like, is his issues, Barkley, a little bit overlooked. That's fine, but the media does play favorites, and they love Durant, largely because he's a little bit the antithesis of LeBron James. He's never called himself the king. But Jim Traber's a great radio host, WWLS, the sports animal in Oklahoma. Were you surprised by Durant lashing out at the media that's largely kind of been his guy for years, Jim?
Well, Colin, this is comical to me. I mean, you're exactly right. I don't know if I've ever seen an athlete that's been treated better than Kevin Durant. Some will say, well, Jim, what about that headline that they put in there, unreliable? Well, you know how the business works. That was some dude on the desk, some young kid who was writing headlines, and he put that in there. And frankly, I thought it was ridiculous that they retracted it because at the time he wasn't reliable. Now, has he been unbelievable? Sure he has. He's a superstar. But for him to say that the media doesn't treat him well is just absurd, Colin. I mean, I'm so tired of these professional athletes nowadays. When things are going really, really well and, the media's treating them well and saying good things about them, they're all happy. But when there's a little bit of adversity and somebody has the nerve to say something that's a little bit negative about one of them or their team, it's like, oh, I'm not going to talk to you. Russell Westbrook flat out told Barry Tramel, the head columnist for the Oklahoman, that he didn't like him. I mean, so this is just comical to me, Colin.
Is there a sense, after that Hall of Fame speech, I would have never guessed, in a decade he would leave. But is there a sense, Jay-Z, maybe he'd leave, the headline? What's the sense? Is there a little bit of a little insecurity right now where you're at regarding his future in that city?
Well, he's a little bit different than your normal athlete. Although this little outburst that he has kind of upsets me a little bit. But he's a little bit more down to earth than some of these other guys. And let's face fact, he's making $35 million a year just on endorsement. So I don't think, if you look at this weekend, do you think that being in little old Oklahoma City hurt Kevin Durant or Russell Westbrook? I mean, I don't think so.
Nope.
Could they be making a little bit more money if they were in New York or Washington or Los Angeles? Maybe. But, I mean, I don't think it's hurting either one of them. Now, I will tell you this. There's a lot of people in his ear. He's got a lot of people in his posse, and he is from back in the Washington area. So there's a chance. But I've always put it about 60-40 that he would stay. But, I got to tell you something, Colin. He says that the most important thing is to win a championship. And I got to tell you that, I mean, this is a really, really good team, but I don't see him winning a championship this year. And next year will be the last year, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out over the next year and a half.
Jim Traber, why don't you think they'll win?
I just don't think they have it. I mean, they're going to have to go into, let's say, Golden State and then Houston and then, let's say, Memphis to win on the road in 7-game series. I just don't see them doing it. And I think they have some flaws still. I still think they're a flawed team. I mean, I think that they don't play they're not any good at all perimeter defense. And they're a really, really bad three-point shooting team, but guys that shoot 25% have the freedom to shoot whenever they want. So, I don't know. I mean, I think they can play with everybody, but I just don't see them winning it this year.
Scott Brooks, the head coach. I mean, if you don't win when you have 2 stars, Jim, you know how it is in this league. You can be a really good coach. But Eric Spoelstra, if he didn't win by his second year in Miami with LeBron, was going to get canned. Is Brooks in trouble?
Well, I thought he should have been let go after last season. And I do think he's a good basketball coach. I really do. He's a great guy. He knows the game. But I think that he's kind of too close to the players. I mean, you saw what Kevin Durant in that speech did. He loves the guy, which is great. But I think that this team needs a little bit more discipline. I think they need someone that's going to come in and say, no, you can't take that shot. No, you better go cover that guy. And I don't think there's a lot of that right now. It's kind of a catch-22 because you've got to try to win a championship. But I don't think that he's the guy. But Durant and Westbrook love him. And you know better than anybody, Colin, that it's all about the superstars. If they want a guy to stay, he's going to stay. He's going to stay.
Durant and Westbrook, from the outside, I'm not close enough. You have the access. Are they as tight as people say?
Yeah, they're really close. I mean, do I think they get on each other's nerves? Sure I do. I think that it would be hard for anybody in the world to play opposite Russell Westbrook.
Yeah.
And to coach him because he's off the charts. I mean, the guy he's one of the, I know this is going to sound ridiculous. I think he may be the greatest athlete to ever play in the NBA.
Oh,
I'm just telling you.
I got to tell you something. He's on a short list.
Right.
I mean, I love Michael Jordan. Michael tried baseball. It didn't work. I mean, I think he is the greatest point guard athletically I've ever seen. I don't even know the other 5 guys. I didn't see Gus Johnson play. He was supposed to be amazing. I didn't see Oscar play. So I agree with you. But I also agree, Jim, I don't think Russell's the easiest guy to play with.
No, I mean, he'll have games where, like that one game for the last 4 minutes and 59 seconds, he didn't pass it to anyone. He just does what he wants to do sometimes, but you can't harness him. They say you can't harness him. He shoots like 26% from three-point range, but he continues to throw threes up. And then he'll come to the media and go, oh, you know what, I got to stop shooting threes. And then he'll have a couple of games where he doesn't, and then the next thing you know, he'll go 2 for 9 in a game for three-point range. So he's hard to play with. But no, I don't think there's any doubt that they really do like each other. I don't think there's any doubt about that. And boy, the twosome is about as impressive as you'll ever see. But I think we're finding out more and more, Colin, that, you need more than 2 players. And Serge Ibaka this year has become this three-point shot guy. I think Steven Adams has a chance to be really, really good down the road. And then, they bring in Waiters, and, he's a volume shooter.
Yep.
It's just, listen, they're really, really good. I'm not trying to rip on them. I just don't think they're good enough to win the championship.
The sports animal, WWLS, my friend Jim Traber, great radio host. By the way, you're a real man. You're an athlete. You're big and strong. I'm skinny. Can a real man like Miley Cyrus, because I watched that Saturday Night Live thing last night. I thought she was amazing. Can a real man like Miley Cyrus?
You know what? I'm so far past that macho crap, Colin. You know what I'm saying, dude? I mean, I'm 53 years old. I've been through it a lot. I've got guys on my radio show that like talk about man cards and machoism and all that stuff. Dude, I've been through all the machoism in my life now. I've got a tremendous feminine side. I cry at movies all the time.
Yeah!
So, if you want to like Miley Cyrus, so be it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. See, us 50-year-old guys, we can sense we're on the back nine. We see the gates upstairs, the mortality. We cry all the time. Let's hear it for Jim Traber's crying. Yeah, Jim Traber. Thank you, Jim.
Hey, well, listen, when you grow up in a house with 3 daughters and a wife like I did, dude, there's a bunch of crying going on. Trust me.
Good talking to you, bud.
Thanks, my man.
You bet. You get older and here's what happens. You get to the back nine, 12th hole, 13th hole. Things start hurting when you get up in the morning. You just appreciate stuff. You just start crying all the time. You start crying. This morning I woke up and I got the oil company coming by today. I'm by myself right now. And I just bored out of my mind. So I had to go out and shovel. It was 1 degree. Now, it wasn't very windy and the sun was out. It was 1 degree, and I had to go shovel down a hill. And I'm like...
When's the last time you used the shovel?
No, today, this morning.
No, before that.
I did it 2 days ago, and unfortunately the snow covered up the path I'd cleared for the oil company. So 2 of the last 3 days, I have gotten a shovel and used it.
You gotta be kidding me!
I know, it's ridiculous. I'm outraged by it. Haven't I risen above that? Apparently not. You know, the cold, I'm okay with the cold. There was no wind this morning. So Jim Cantore is going to stop by the show at 12:45. He just went bananas this weekend. I really love that guy. I think he's really Sam Champion's their new guy, but to me the heart and soul of the Weather Channel is Cantore. He's just crazy.
Yes, we got it, baby. We got it.
I mean,
we got it.
He was.
Woo!
I was worried for
Woo!
him. So he wanted to get hit by lightning. He's like rooting for it. He went Tom Cruise on Oprah on the couch.
Want more of the herd? The Thundering Herd Podcast.
The Weather Channel's Jim Cantore. I was watching it live, and it was just really an incredible passion. It's called, I guess it's Thunder Snow, and our guy John put it to AC/DC, Thunderstruck, and Jim's joining us. How many days have you been in Mass or New Hampshire or this region consecutively, Jim?
This is day 15 in Boston, day 20 out of 23 on the road. But dude, thanks for putting the AC/DC. That was awesome. that really got me pumped up again. I almost felt like screaming when I was talking to you, but I said, no, don't do it. There's no thunder snow. Just relax a little bit.
You seek and apprehend and follow very harsh weather. How does this weather in the Northeast right now compare to your resume and your history of chasing this kind of weather?
I mean, honestly, I was telling my producer, I was like, Steve, I've been out covering this Boston situation as long as I was in Katrina in the Gulf, which is back in 2005. And so this is kind of amazing. It's just this never-ending winter. I mean, we've essentially had 2 seasons worth of snow in Boston in 23 days, which is just unprecedented. I mean, it boggles my mind. Yeah. It boggles my mind.
Jim, thunder snow, basically it's lightning and thunder in a snowstorm. Explain, why it's so rare, and how rare is it?
Well, first of all, it's winter. I mean, in the summertime, it's pretty easy to get 40, 50,000 foot updrafts where you're, creating a tremendous change in charge from the cloud to the ground, or the inside the cloud, and things like that. You can do that with a really steep updraft. But in the winter, you have to basically have some of those same dynamic processes that are going on over a cold surface. So it's much, much harder to do that. So it takes a lot of lift and forcing, but you can actually get the snowflakes to adapt opposite charges and create thunder and lightning. It's very rare. It's very dynamic. But when it happens, it's just obviously I get a little excited about it.
Yeah, Jim Cantore, the Weather Channel. These days, if you have an opinion on the harshening winters getting harsher, it's some sort of political referendum, and I don't care either way. But are the winters getting nastier? Is our weather getting nastier?
If you think about it, until today, we really didn't have a lot of. I mean, we certainly haven't had a winter in California. We have more snow in Boston than we do on the entire Sierra Nevada right now. And really in most ski resorts. So, the opposites can be pretty extreme here. The only thing I noticed that I thought was of note is that the jet stream seems to be lining up right over really a perfect storm track for Boston and the Cape to plaster this area with snow. Plus, the temperatures over the water are pretty warm. They're like 8 degrees above average from where they should be this time of the year. And warmer water with colder air aloft will tend to fuel potentially higher snow events. So what would be, let's say, a 10-inch snow event may turn out to be a 15-inch snow event.
Yeah.
And that's really what's happened here. We've overachieved in 4 of our 5 storms.
Is there ever a sense you're in danger? Have you ever had a day where you thought, I got to get out of here, I'm in trouble?
Well, I certainly don't recommend people walk out with lightning. That's not a good thing. And you can actually be struck by lightning. You can actually have ground strokes in the thunder situation in the wintertime. So, my reaction and my excitement obviously overrules my sanity at this point. But, I've never feared for myself out there. It's really my crew. Like even this morning, I had a guy who's operating camera, and we have 31 below wind chills in Plymouth. It's 4 below outside. It's coldest there in 11 years, actually.
Wow.
In southern New England. And this guy's got, his nose is white. I'm like, oh my God, we gotta go in. Dude, your nose is white. It's like frostbite. So we gotta get him inside. And so, I usually watch out for my crew. Being a meteorologist, you kind of know what's going to happen with the weather. You're going to get storm surge. You're going to get heavy snow rates. You're going to get floods or tornadoes given the situation. That's my job as a meteorologist. But you got to make sure your crew is together and cooperating when something's going on, or you can get in trouble.
Weather Channel's Jim Cantore.
Especially with storm surge.
Obviously you can't predict 2 weeks out, but with the jet stream, are we close to getting out of this? What does it tell? Your history in this business.
I didn't look at the new data from this morning, but I know we're going to get a storm tomorrow. We're going to get into the number 2 all-time seasonal snow for Boston tomorrow. Okay. After that, we're going to have another 10, 11 inches before we top the number 1 season in Boston, which was 95, 96 at 107 point something inches. Jeez. So that's a big deal. But what makes this so dramatic is, to get 2 seasons worth of snow in 24 days, it's just extraordinary. It's just been the rise to these incredible snowfall amounts, and we've never had this much snow on the ground in Boston ever.
Yeah, I worry about merchants. How do they get food, drug, alcohol to pharmacies and grocery stores? You get to a point with some social chaos, do you not?
I think the MBTA thing is really the biggest thing. When you can't go out on the roads and you start shutting down major thoroughfares because of the weather, and then there's really no place for people to go to move around. And Boston is obviously a very mobile city. They use the mass transit, they use the buses, they use the T. And if that thing's shut down, that's just a disaster. Yeah. Nobody can go anywhere. And this has just been going on now for 3 weeks. Kids going to school. They, as well as I do, when you're learning about something, you want to stay with it for a while. And if you break it up by 2 or 3 days and then try and come back to it, you got to learn the whole thing over again. So there's been a lot of difficulties in that respect, certainly.
Jim Cantore, Weather Channel. Bring them on once or twice a year. What they're going through in the Northeast, and I'm living in some of it. It's pretty profound. Jim, absolute pleasure. Love how much you love what you do. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you having me.
You bet. Yeah, that guy is just, it's like you meet that baseball scout, and he's like, I used to go to baseball games, UNLV, when I lived in Vegas, and I go to a UNLV baseball game because it would just be a great place to get sun and watch baseball. And I met this old scout for the St. Louis Cardinals. He was like 70, and I don't know what they make, but it wasn't much. That guy just loved watching baseball. And you don't meet a lot of people that love. I tell my daughter this all the time. I'm like, your life's pretty good, but I'm like, you can really screw it up if you don't have as much passion for your career as you have for your friends and you have for because it's going to be a third of your life, and you don't want to be miserable in that big third of your life or quadrant. You want to like what you do. Man, there's just not many that like their job more than Jim Cantore.
Listen to that!
This went crazy, man.
And there's another one.
Tell you what, if he really liked his job, he would have done that interview from outside.
Dude, that's number 6.
He said it was minus 35 where he was at.
Oh, my God.
And he was talking. I'm like,
oh, my God.
At minus 35, just hit me over. I can't get up.
Check out The Herd with Colin Cowherd weekdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio, ESPNradio.com, and on ESPNU. The Thundering Herd Podcast.